Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 195. Today I'm going to talk about Guildhall, and as you can see here, this is the one that has job fair on it. So there was Guildhall, no subtitle, and now there's Guildhall job fair. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of review both. So I'll just kind of spoil it a little bit here. The base game of Guildhall is pretty good. It's okay, but there's really not a lot to it. I want to say probably by my fourth or fifth play I was like, it's just kind of there. Honestly, probably by the third time I played I was like, okay, I'm starting to get sick of this a little bit. But lo and behold, I actually bought the first one, and then AG for some reason magically sent me this one without me really even asking for it. So I got this and I was like, okay, well, let's see what the new one adds. Maybe it makes the game better or something, and lo and behold, it does. It just adds a lot to sort of the setup and what you can kind of do and configure, and it changes the metagame, or gives you the ability to change the metagame quite a bit. So let me show you how it works. Pretty simple, pretty basic, and then I'll kind of, go into more about what I think of it when I come back. So just a quick component note, you can see this says Job Fair on there. The basic game has a little bit smaller box, about the same dimensions. Let's go ahead and take this off of here. You can actually store both sets of cards. They do kind of move around in here a little bit, but there are, room for other things. So you can see you've got the little tokens here. These are victory point markers, and there are two different sizes. So you can see the small one there, that's from the basic game, and then this one is from Job Fair. So you can store, hopefully more cards, because I am now looking forward to having more expansion. So here's all the components you pretty much are going to have in the game. You're going to have a little stack here of these victory point cards. You're going to deal 5 of them out here in a row, and then you've got these little chits, like I said, for victory points. And then you've got a deck of these profession cards. And so now with the expansion, you can sort of change out which cards are going to be in the game. So you can see I've got Peddler here, let's see, Assassins, Hunters. This is just the last particular makeup that I played with here. So you can see there's other cards here that I could possibly add, Historians and Bricklayers and things like that there. So basically what you're trying to do is get 20 points. You're going to get points either from playing cards kind of during your turn and getting points this way from here, or completing sets of these different professions and then using those completed sets to buy these victory point cards here. So you can see, if you take a look here, you can see this one costs 1 completed set, gives you 4 points towards your total, and then has a little effect here. Whereas this one here, you need 2 complete sets to buy it, and then it doesn't have any special effect. But it's worth more points than this one. So the first thing everybody's going to do is they're going to get 9 of these cards here, and you're going to take 9 of these, and then you can discard as many as you want and then draw back up to 9 to start the game. And then you're going to take 3 of these and then put them out. So I could say maybe put 2 traders out here in front of me, and then maybe put an assassin out. Now you can never have the same profession and the same color in your tableau here. This is called your Guildhall here. So I can never have 2 red traders here. So I'm going to start the game with 3 cards here, and then I'm going to have 6 cards left in my hand, and then after everybody's done a round of that, then we're going to start the play. So on your turn you get 2 actions. The first basic action is I can take and discard as many cards as I want, even 0, and then draw back up to 6. That's the only way you're going to get new cards in your hand. So through the process of playing cards, let's say I was down to like 2 cards, then I could say, okay, I'm going to take the draw action. Maybe I don't even discard these, and I draw back up to 6. Or if I wanted to, I could discard both of these and then draw back up to 6. So that's the first action, basically kind of refill your hand. The next possible action you use is actually play a card. So when you play a card, you kind of just play it off to the side of your Guildhall just to show that it hasn't yet joined your Guildhall here. So if I played a farmer, I'll play that one, and then maybe I could play a peddler. You can never play the same profession in a row, so I can play 2 farmers. And again, remember, you can never have 2 of the same profession and color, and you can't actually play that. So in this case, it would not be legal to even play a red assassin because I've already got one there. So when you play a card, you're going to play it, and then you're going to take a look at the bottom here and do whatever effect it says. I'll go over these in a little bit more detail. And after you've done your 2 actions, let's say I did 1 action where I refilled my hand, and then I did another action where I played the farmer. I do the effect, and then it's going to move over into my Guildhall. And again, I'm trying to complete full sets of these. And there's 5 colors in the game here. So you can see I've got purple, red, green, blue, and yellow. Once I have completed one of these, you're going to take and then flip this over, and now this now counts as a completed set. So this gives us our third and final option for the turn, which is actually to buy one of these. So it actually costs an action. You can discard one of your completed chapters. Each one of these little sets here is called a chapter. Take a completed chapter, move it to the discard pile, and then let's say I wanted to buy this one here, which is going to give me 4 points. And then I can do this effect here, and this one is basically telling me I can draw 5 cards into my hand once I score that. And a lot of these low point ones give you different effects here. So like this one's worth 4 points, but it'll give me a bonus action, so I could score that and then take another action here. This one's pretty cool. This is 3 points. This lets you play any cards from your hand into your Guildhall. That's the little white one there. So I could score this one, and then maybe if I had a really good hand, like dump the rest of the cards, as long, again, as I could legally play the cards. I couldn't in this case because they're both red assassins. So that's the game. You're going to play cards. You're going to play maybe 1 or 2 cards. You're going to maybe draw cards, and then you're going to maybe buy cards here. So obviously the effects and the intricacies of the game is all based on the different effects here. So let me quickly go through most of these, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think about it. Okay, let me just quickly go through these. I'm going to go through the first 6, and these are going to be from the base set, and then underneath there I've got the second 6 from the Job Fair expansion. So when you play the Historian here, you can see if you have currently 0 Historians in your Guildhall, in your tableau, then what you can do is you can go to the discard pile and basically grab the top card of the discard pile and then move it directly into your Guildhall. Now you can see here on all of these cards, the effects are going to get stronger as you start to collect more of this type. So if I had 2 Historians in here, like so, I've got these 2 Historians. So on my turn I go to play this, I check to see how many Historians I have. I've got 2. In this case, I can actually look through the discard pile, go through the whole discard pile, and then move a card directly into my tableau. So if I had 4 out here already, then I could look through and then actually take 2 cards from the discard pile and put it into my Guildhall. So you can see the effects again get much stronger. Now the Weaver here, you play her. If you've got 0, you can put 1 other card from your hand at the instant that you play her directly into your Guildhall. And then all the way up to number 4, you can play as many cards as you want into your Guildhall, but you have to send 2 cards from your Guildhall back to your hand. So a lot of these will have this little kind of swap action here. In this case, I could swap 2 cards for only 1 card in my Guildhall. So she's pretty interesting. The Farmer here is one of 2 cards where you can actually just score points by playing him. Now the first Farmer that you play, unless you had one in there from setup, is not going to give you anything because you need at least 1 Farmer. But after I've got at least 1 Farmer in there, then the next time I play somebody, I'll actually just take one of these victory point markers and then store that all the way up to 3, and then I'll start getting 2 per turn. The Trader's a very interesting one here. So you can see if I play the Trader, I take 1 card from my Guildhall, and then I swap it with 1 card from my opponent's Guildhall. So that's very interesting. You have to give up a card, but then you get to take a card. Maybe you get closer to completing your set of farmers or something like that. Now the cards that you give, again, they cannot be the same color and profession of the card that you have or your opponent. You can't just give them a dead card that they can't use. And then all the way up to the 4, you can actually swap, you can see whole chapters. So I could take a whole stack of my farmers and then take a whole stack of traders or something like that. Now the Dancer's pretty neat because you basically draw cards equal to the number of dancers that you already have, and then you can see this +A gives you another action. So that one's cool. And then finally for the first set here is the attack card, the Assassin. So if I play this, I can basically take any 1 card from one of my opponent's display there, and then I can discard it. All the way up to, if I have 4, I can take 2 cards and then discard it. So that is the basic set. That's pretty standard fare there. And then let's talk about the second set. These are the cards in the second set. And what you can do is you basically always have 6 different cards. So maybe I would want to play with all of these cards, but I'll take out all the Assassins and then I'll put in all the Bricklayers. Or I want to take out the Assassins and maybe the Farmers here, and then put the Tax Collectors and the Scholars in. So you can really set up your deck however you want. And the rules have said that you could just shuffle them all together, maybe play a giant game with more than 4 players. The game plays 2 to 4, by the way. But I haven't tried that. I've just played with the standard, 6 different types of cards. So the Bricklayer is kind of interesting. Basically, you draw this many cards, so in this case 3 cards off the top of the deck, and then you put 1 card from your hand back on top of the deck, all the way up to drawing 7 and putting 3 back on top. So that's kind of cool. The Tax Collector is a lot like the Farmer. Basically, you collect X points worth of however many tax collectors you have, but you have to give one of the cards already in your Guildhall into somebody else's Guildhall. So it's a little bit more points possible than the farmer, but you got to give up a little bit there. Scholar here, this one you draw one card and then you put it into your Guildhall, and up to 5, and then any that you can't fit in there you're just going to discard. The Peddler here is maybe my favorite card, or maybe the Hunter. So this one is basically you take one card from your hand and then you put it into your opponent's Guildhall, and then you take one card out of their Guildhall as a trade, and then it goes back into your hand. But then you get a bonus action, so you could give them a card, take a card, and then you get an extra action to play that card, all the way up to I can basically give them 2 cards, and then I take one of their entire chapters, one set of professions into my hand. I get a bonus action that way. Some tricky stuff you can do with a lot of these cards, but especially this one, I really like it. The Hunter here is kind of like the Historian. We're going to be going through the discard pile. Basically, let's look at the first one. You can look through the discard pile, and then you get to put it directly into your Guildhall, but then you've got to put one back into the discard pile, all the way up to 3 for an entire set. Now again, this one is tricky because you could take 3 cards out, and you put a set that just has 1 card in it. So there's a little rules breaking that you can get into with that. Finally, we've got the Robber, sort of like the Assassin, but this one is going to attack players' hands, and not like the Assassin going to be attacking their Guildhall. So the Robber, if you've got 0, you play this, you basically take 1 card at random from somebody's hand and put it right into your Guildhall. Now, if it's illegal, you just take a random card that's illegal, then you got to discard it, which it can be good all by itself. And then all the way up to, if you have 4, you get to actually look at their hand, take 2 cards, and then put them directly into your Guildhall if it's legal. So you can see in each set, for example, you've got attack cards like the Robber and Assassin. There's no reason that you couldn't play with both of these. You've got the Dancer here that gives you bonus actions, whereas you've got the Peddler here that's got bonus actions. You've got the Hunter here who digs to the discard pile, and then the Historian that digs to the discard pile, just in different ways. So you can kind of tailor your deck, and a lot like Dominion, to be sort of as aggressive as you want or as solitary as you want, etc. But that's pretty much the game. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the overview. Like I said at the beginning, the base game is probably okay if you just wanted to kind of try this out. I don't know the cost difference. I imagine it's a little cheaper, but I'm not sure. They could be about the same price. But you may want to try the base game just to kind of see if you're not real too sure if you're going to like this or not. But then I think if you do like it, you're going to want to go out and immediately grab that second expansion. Now, I haven't played any of the second expansion cards by themselves. I just got it right into mixing them as soon as I got it. So there's that. But for me, the cards that are the most interesting are the cards where you trade. So like you play the trader, I've got to give you a card, and then I take a card for me that I need. So as the game kind of evolves and people get some more sets build up, and they get sort of not only closer to being able to buy those victory point cards, but their effects are a lot more dramatic. Like, you play one Assassin, yeah, you discarded 1 card, big deal. But then now you're discarding 2 cards, off of a set where I was really close to completing a set. Or the Historians, where, yeah, you can take the top card of the discard pile. That could be useful or could not be, but then you start to be able to dig through and then even get 2 cards. So as people start to build up all that stuff, and then you're like, well, I want to trade, I want to give this guy, do I give him an Assassin? I don't want to give him an Assassin. He's just going to use it right back on me, So you give him a Farmer. He's like, well, maybe he's got a bunch of farmers in his hand, so he's going to be able to, score some points over the next couple of turns. So like the Trader and then the Peddler and all that stuff, makes it really interesting. So you can, again, configure your metagame to have like a whole lot of trading going on, or a whole lot of attacking, or you could put both the Farmer and the Tax Collector. So most of the points are going to be scored getting just the victory point chip, so that's a whole different interesting sort of pace to that game. So yeah, that's the game. Like I said, I would just go out and get both. If this seems interesting at all, I would just get both. You play with the base set a couple of games, and then you start swapping in stuff and changing up the metagame. So it's very interesting. It is sort of like, it's like Dominion. You can kind of, it's without the deck building, right? You can set up your tableau or your available cards, and you go, okay, well, what are we going to have here? Well, how are we going to do this? And there's a lot of interesting combos. Last point I want to get to is just an example of a very simple combo is, let's say I assassinate one of your guys. So I assassinate and say, okay, put the purple trader on the discard pile. And then I play Historian, take that right from the discard pile, put it in my stack of traders, and then boom, I've completed my set. And then there we go. So depending on, again, your makeup and how that's going to work, there are going to be different cool little combos you can do. And for some reason, I don't have any AP with this game at all. I play a lot of games, I play a lot of card combo games, so I'm able to kind of figure that out and usually figure out the right combo to do at the right time. Now, we've been playing this with my lunch group here, and they get into AP morass. So they're getting better at it, but they really like the game, so we have been having fun with it. It's just been going a little bit longer than it should, I think, but there's a lot going on. It's sort of the table dynamics of who's close to winning, who am I going to attack, and stuff like that. Well, Joel's not necessarily winning now, but boy, I just want to hand him some cards. I don't want to trade Brandon or Billy because he's winning. So there's a lot of table dynamics and not necessarily negotiation that's going to kind of happen, but you kind of get that idea of the swing of the power and this power struggle and who's on top and who's on the bottom. So there's a lot of that as well. And then you got the whole timing of all the combos and stuff too. Anyway, that's Guildhall, and it's very, very fun once you add that expansion. So anyway, take a look at it. Thanks.